That dog is not bad. That's not aggression. That's not destruction. That is a dog having a panic attack every single time you leave. Everything you were told about your dog's so-called problem behaviors, the chewing, the barking, the accidents, the escaping, there's a very good chance none of it is what you think it is. And the way most owners respond to it makes it worse every single time. Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you're going to understand your dog in a way most owners never do. And you'll have a clear path forward. No punishment. No dominance. No quick fixes. Just the truth about what's actually happening inside your dog when you walk out that door. Most people come home to the damage and immediately assume the dog was being bad. They see the shredded couch, the destroyed shoes, the overturned trash bin, and then they see the dog wagging its tail at the door like nothing happened. So they scold. They punish. Or they search online and get told their dog is dominant, manipulative, bored, or attention-seeking. Then they try harder with more rules, more corrections, more crates, and more exercise. And somehow, it still keeps happening. Here's what nobody told you. Separation anxiety is one of the most misunderstood conditions in dogs. Some studies estimate it affects up to 1 in 4 pet dogs. And most of those dogs are being treated for the behavior instead of the cause. What owners see is only the surface, the barking, the chewing, the accidents, the escape attempts. But underneath all of that is something much bigger: panic, fear, and stress hormones flooding the body. It's a nervous system convinced something terrible has happened because you disappeared. And until that underlying panic is addressed, the behaviors don't truly stop. They just change shape. A lot of the behaviors people call bad behavior are actually survival behaviors. Take destructive chewing, especially chewing objects that smell like you, your shoes, your pillow, your side of the couch. Owners often think the dog is being vindictive, like it's punishing them for leaving. But that's not what's happening. Chewing is a self-soothing behavior. It releases calming chemicals in the brain. And your scent becomes incredibly important when you're gone. Your dog is trying to stay connected to the closest thing it has left of you. Not because it's angry, but because it's distressed. Then there's the barking and howling at doors and windows. People assume it's territorial behavior, but many anxious dogs are not guarding the house at all. They're monitoring the exact place where you disappeared. Dogs with separation anxiety learn your departure routine long before you actually leave. The keys. The shoes. The bag. The sound of the door. The anxiety often starts building 20 or 30 minutes before you even walk out. And once you're gone, the vocalizing begins, not as defiance, but as a distress call. The same kind of attachment cry seen in young mammals separated from caregivers. Indoor accidents in fully house-trained dogs are another major misunderstanding. Extreme stress changes the body. When panic levels rise high enough, bladder and bowel control can break down completely. This is not a dog forgetting its training. This is a nervous system in overload. And when the dog cowers after you return, that isn't guilt. Dogs don't experience guilt the way humans do. What you're seeing is fear of your reaction based on past experiences of angry arrivals. Then there's escape behavior. Dogs clawing through doors, destroying fences, or breaking through windows are often called destructive or stubborn. But panic creates a biological urge to escape. A severely distressed dog is not calmly making choices. It's trying to flee the feeling itself. And this is dangerous. Dogs injure themselves during escape attempts all the time. Some disappear forever. Now here's the part many owners miss completely. Some of the biggest warning signs don't even look like problems. They look sweet. Like the dog that follows you everywhere from room to room, always watching you, always close. People call this love, and yes, sometimes it is. But in anxious dogs, extreme hyperattachment can mean something else, a dog that never learned how to feel safe without constant proximity to you. The dog that cannot tolerate you going to the bathroom alone often becomes the dog that completely falls apart when left home alone. Then there's what happens when nobody is watching, which is why cameras matter so much. Many owners assume their dog settles down after they leave, but the footage tells a different story. The dog stands at the door, paces, pants, whines, lies down and immediately gets back up. It doesn't touch the food. It doesn't touch the toy. It doesn't sleep. That dog isn't relaxing between incidents. That dog is staying distressed the entire time you're gone. And then there's the greeting when you come home. Healthy dogs get excited, but they recover quickly. Anxious dogs often explode emotionally at reunions, jumping, whining, shaking, unable to calm down for several minutes. That's not just happiness. That's relief after prolonged stress. One of the clearest signs of all is pre-departure anxiety. The dog starts spiraling before you even leave. You pick up your keys and the dog freezes. You put on shoes and the pacing starts. You grab your bag and the dog cannot settle. Some dogs are already overwhelmed before the door even opens. Now here's something important. Not every destructive dog has separation anxiety. This matters because boredom and separation anxiety are not the same thing. A bored dog may destroy things casually. An anxious dog destroys things with distress attached to it. A bored dog often eats, rests, and relaxes normally when alone. A dog with separation anxiety struggles to settle at all. A bored dog improves with more exercise and enrichment. A truly anxious dog often does not. One of the biggest clues is this: if the dog is perfectly fine when another person is home, at daycare, or with a sitter, but panics when completely alone, that strongly points toward separation-related distress. If this is already changing the way you see your dog, subscribe to Paws Chronicles, the Canine Mindset channel, because understanding the canine mind is the difference between punishing behavior and finally understanding the fear behind it. Now let's talk about the mistakes owners accidentally make that worsen this problem. The first is emotional goodbyes. This comes from love. People feel guilty leaving, so they hug the dog, talk softly, and promise they'll be back soon. But long emotional departures can increase anticipatory anxiety. They teach the dog that leaving is a huge emotional event. Instead, departures should become boring, calm, and neutral. No drama. No ceremony. You leave the house the same way you'd walk to the mailbox, quietly. Then there are emotional arrivals. Some owners come home angry and punish the dog. Others come home and explode with excitement. Both create emotional intensity around reunions. And if reunions become emotionally overwhelming events, departures become emotionally charged too. Arrivals should stay calm with quiet acknowledgement and low intensity. Another mistake is forcing independence too quickly. Owners realize their dog is overly attached, so they start pushing the dog away, locking it out of rooms, or punishing clingy behavior. But anxiety doesn't improve through forced isolation. Security comes first. Confidence grows slowly through safe experiences. To understand why punishment fails, you need to understand what's happening in the brain. When an anxious dog is left alone, the brain's threat detection system activates intensely. Fear takes over. And when fear becomes overwhelming, learning shuts down. A dog in full panic cannot process lessons or consequences properly. That's why punishment after the fact doesn't work. This is also why recovery has to happen gradually. The goal is to keep the dog below the panic threshold, because below that threshold, learning can still happen. And what the dog slowly learns is this: you leave, and you come back. Again and again until the nervous system starts believing it through experience. So what does recovery actually look like? First, you break the departure cue chain. Dogs learn patterns. Keys predict leaving. Shoes predict leaving. Coats predict leaving. So you start changing the meaning of those cues. Pick up the keys and sit back down. Put shoes on and watch television. Wear your coat and make coffee. Teach the dog that these signals no longer automatically predict abandonment. Then you begin tiny absences. Tiny. Step outside for 3 seconds and come back in. Then 10 seconds. Then 30. Always returning before panic begins. If distress starts at 45 seconds, you train below that level. You build slowly with success after success. Then you build independence while you're home. Teach calm separation inside the house first. A mat. A resting place. Short distances. Then slightly longer ones. The dog learns that you moving away does not mean disappearing forever. Only after that foundation is stable do you begin longer real-world absences. 5 minutes. 10 minutes. 20 minutes. Slowly building upward. And if your dog isn't ready for long absences yet, management matters. Dog sitters, friends, daycare, preventing overwhelming panic episodes during training is critical. There are also tools that help. Cameras are essential because you need real information about what your dog experiences when alone. Long-lasting chews or frozen food toys can help create positive associations with departures. White noise may reduce stress in some dogs. And your scent can genuinely help soothe anxious dogs. For severe cases, professional help matters, especially veterinary behavior support. Medication is not failure. For some dogs, it creates the neurological stability needed for learning to happen. And finally, this may be the most important thing of all. The goal is not emotional distance. You do not need to love your dog less. The goal is secure attachment, a dog that trusts you'll return deeply enough to relax during your absence. Like a securely attached child at a playground, your dog needs the confidence to explore because it trusts you're still there. That foundation gets built slowly through repetition, consistency, and hundreds of small successful experiences where the same thing keeps happening. You leave, and you come back. And one day, your dog watches you pick up your keys, and instead of spiraling, it walks to its mat and rests. Not because it stopped loving you, but because it finally learned you always come back. If this changed the way you understand your dog, the next video you should watch is about the hidden stress signals dogs show before they reach panic, the yawning, the lip licking, the freeze response, the wail eye. Because learning to read those signals changes everything. And if you know someone struggling with a dog they're close to giving up on, send them this video. Because many dogs labeled difficult or unmanageable are actually terrified dogs that have been misunderstood. They deserve better information. So do the people trying to help them. See you in the next one.